The story begins in 1962, aboard a massive, luxurious Italian ship named Antonia Graza, drifting through the endless ocean. A lively party is in full swing in the lounge, with music, laughter, and a young girl named Francesca performing for the guest. Everyone is captivated by her performance, yet in the corner, a young girl sits quietly all alone. The captain notices her and invites her to dance. But at that very moment, something sinister happens. An unseen hand pulls a lever, sending the ship's metallic cables tightening violently through the lounge. Chaos erupts as the cables slice through everything, splitting people apart. The young girl, small and unsuspecting, remains unharmed. She screams in terror as the scene unfolds before her eyes. Fast forward 40 years, a salvage crew Captain Murphy, Maureen, Greer, Dodge, Munder, and Santos are enjoying themselves at a bar. They are specialists in rescuing stranded ships, navigating the dangers of the open sea. Suddenly, a weather service pilot named Jack enters. He tells Captain Murphy about a ship he spotted far off the usual shipping lanes. Attempts to contact it failed, but being in international waters, any crew who brings it to port can claim it. Intrigued, the salvage team agrees to chase it, offering Jack a cut of the profits. They set off aboard the tugboat Arctic Warrior. Days pass before the radar finally picks up a massive vessel. But something is off. The ship flickers in and out of the radar, appearing and disappearing like a ghost. They press on, confused and uneasy. Suddenly, the massive ship looms ahead. Despite their efforts to stop, the tugboat crashes into it. Captain Murphy recognizes it instantly. It's Antonia Graza, the ship that vanished 40 years ago without a trace. Except for Jack and Greer, the crew boards the abandoned ship. Strange sounds echo through the halls. An old pendulum clock swings in eerie silence. Munder reaches out, and the pendulum stops abruptly, followed by a deafening sound that freezes them in fear. As they move further, the floor collapses beneath Munder, and he plunges downward. Maureen reacts just in time, catching him before disaster strikes. Then, in the hall, she sees her little girl, silently staring at them before vanishing without a trace. Shaken, they continue exploring. They find a digital clock ticking steadily. Confused, they realize digital clocks didn't exist 40 years ago. Murphy's voice cuts through the tension. Someone has been here before us. This clock, it belongs to them. With unease gnawing at them, the crew decides to tow the ship back to safety. But Maureen can't shake the image of the little girl, her presence lingering like a shadow over the abandoned vessel. Noticing Maureen lost in thought, Jack asks, "What happened?" She hesitates, then admits she saw a little girl on the ship. Jack tries to reassure her. That must have been a trick of the mind. Don't think about it. The next day, as the crew inspects the lower part of the ship, they discover holes in the hull. Water is seeping and the ship can't just be towed. It needs repairs first. They set to work, and over the next 3 days, the crew is busy with their tasks. Maureen heads to the swimming pool area, only to find bullet casings and walls riddled with bullet holes. Shocked, she begins to leave, but then, she sees the little girl again. Startled, Maureen trips, hitting her head and bleeding. Her blood sinks into the pool water. Jack rushes to her side, pulling her out just in time. Then, something horrifying happens. Blood begins to seep from the bullet holes, gradually filling the pool. Bodies start to float in the crimson water. Elsewhere, Murphy enters the captain's room. He notices a glass of wine. When he lifts it, he's stunned to see the captain reflected in the mirror, sipping from the same glass. Meanwhile, Greer explores the lounge where the party once took place. He hears Francesca singing, but sees no one until the camera reveals her sitting right there, as if the past and present are colliding. Jack and Maureen move to the cargo hold, where vintage luxury cars are stored. Maureen discovers boxes filled with gold. Excited, she calls the others. The crew decides to take only the gold and leave immediately. As they load the treasure onto the tugboat, Santos checks the engine. Suddenly, an invisible force opens a propane tank valve. The little girl appears, warning Maureen not to start the boat. Before she can react, someone drags the girl away. Greer, unaware, starts the engine. A massive explosion rocks the ship, killing Santos. Realizing they can't escape that way, the crew resolves to repair the Antonia Graza. Grieving Santos' death, they stay aboard. Determined to uncover the truth about the girl, Maureen searches the passenger book and eventually finds her room. The door opens to a horrifying sight, a hanging skeleton. Meanwhile, Greer enters the lounge. Suddenly, everything is restored to how it was in 1962. The party is alive, the guests applauding as if no time had passed. Francesca approaches Greer, seduces him, and then pushes him off the edge of the ship, killing him instantly. Murphy sits alone in the captain's room, lost in sorrow. The captain appears, offering him wine and handing him a diary. From it, Murphy learns the Antonia Graza had once rescued a ship called Lorelei, transferring gold boxes to its hold. Only one person survived that disaster, and the crew had unknowingly rescued them. 2 days later, the Antonia Graza had vanished mysteriously. Finally, the captain shows Murphy a photo of the person who survived, leaving him and the audience in shock. Meanwhile, Maureen enters the girl's room, where she notices a locket hanging from a skeleton. At that moment, the girl appears before her. Maureen is horrified as she realizes the hanging skeleton isn't anyone else's, it's the girl's. The truth hits her. The girl had died long ago. What Maureen has been seeing all this time was the ghost of the girl. The girl speaks, her voice trembling, explaining that her soul and the souls of her friends are trapped on the ship. Whoever imprisoned them will keep them here until their quota is fulfilled. Before she can reveal more, a supernatural force sweeps into the room. Terrified, the girl warns Maureen to leave the ship immediately, then vanishes without a trace. Meanwhile, Murphy believes he now knows the full truth and rushes to inform the others. But suddenly, he begins hallucinating, seeing Maureen as the ghost of Santos, who taunts him mercilessly. Confused and frightened, Murphy attacks Maureen, forcing her to defend herself. Just as things spiral out of control, Jack arrives and rescues her. Everyone assumes Murphy has lost his mind, so they lock him inside a large, empty fish tank. Determined to escape, the group begins repairing the ship, while Maureen ventures off to search for Greer. During her search, she encounters the girl again, who reveals Greer's body, a victim of a horrifying death. Then, the ghost takes Maureen back to the past, to the year 1962. Here, the shocking truth is revealed. The lone survivor rescued from the Lorelei was behind all the killings. He manipulated Antonia Graza's crew into poisoning the food and murdering others. Some were shot by the swimming pool, while many were slaughtered by metallic cables. The girl herself had been hanged in her room, all for the gold. When the treasure is finally found, Francesca appears, manipulating an officer to kill the remaining workers. The only officer left alive is shot and killed by Francesca. Finally, the mastermind behind it all is revealed, the sole survivor from the Lorelei. In a twist, he releases a hook that strangles Francesca to death. Maureen is stunned to see that this person is none other than Jack, the man who had brought them all to the Antonia Graza. Realizing the danger, Maureen rushes to the fish tank, worried about Murphy. But her fears are confirmed. Jack has already filled the tank with water and killed him. The only comfort is that the photo the captain had given Murphy is still in Jack's hand. Maureen is left devastated, mourning Murphy's tragic fate. Maureen arrives at the dock, only to see Jack there as well. Pretending she knows nothing, she tells them both to stay put and hands Dodge a shotgun. Moving to a nearby area, Maureen suddenly watches in horror as a supernatural force seizes Dodge, crushing him in a machine. Blood flows from the pipes, and she realizes that Dodge is dead. Determined, Maureen decides the only way to defeat Jack is to blow up the Antonia Graza and sink the ship. Meanwhile, Jack makes his way toward her, but Dodge tries to stop him, insisting that Maureen had told them to stay. Jack taunts Dodge, calling him a coward, and in a panic, Dodge shoots him, believing Jack is dead. On the other side, Maureen has already set up explosives. Dodge arrives, begging her not to destroy the ship, but Maureen ignores him and begins the countdown. In a chilling twist, Dodge suddenly transforms into Jack, revealing that Jack had already killed him. Jack declares, "I'm just like you. I'm a salvager too, but instead of collecting ships, I collect souls." It becomes clear. Jack is a demonic spirit tasked with provoking humans into sin, killing them, and sending their souls to hell. He had planned to use the Antonia Graza to trap more souls. Jack attacks Maureen, but she strikes him in the leg with an arrow, buying herself a moment. Seizing the opportunity, she fires another arrow at the detonator, triggering a massive explosion that rips Jack apart. Maureen falls into the water, and the girl's spirit appears, guiding her towards safety. As the ship slowly sinks, the trapped souls, including the girl, are finally freed, ascending to heaven. Maureen floats in the sea, clutching a box for support. The next day, a cruise ship rescues her, and she is placed into an ambulance. As she looks around, she notices the same boxes of gold being loaded onto the cruise ship, just as she had seen on the Antonia Graza. Suddenly, Jack appears on the cruise ship, staring directly at her before boarding. Terrified, Maureen screams, and with that, the film ends. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, make sure to subscribe to Cinevoice. Hit the bell icon to stay updated and enjoy the journey.